10 Disturbing Times Women Married Convicted Cold-Blooded Killers. Welcome to Odd Occasions, where we explore the eerie and unsettling world of true crime. Today, we're diving into a baffling phenomenon. Women who fell in love with, and even married, convicted killers. Known as hybristophilia, this fascination with dangerous criminals has led some women to defy reason, choosing to marry men behind bars for violent, brutal crimes. From infamous names like Ted Bundy and Richard Ramirez to lesser-known killers, these stories reveal just how far some people are willing to go in the name of love. Number 10. Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez, the infamous Night Stalker, terrorized Southern California and San Francisco during the mid-1980s. Convicted of 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 14 burglaries, and 11 sexual assaults, Ramirez's crimes left a deep mark on the state. But even after his conviction and placement on death row, Ramirez didn't struggle to find a romantic partner. In an unusual twist, he captured the heart of Doreen Lioy, a former magazine editor who became infatuated with him. Over 11 years, Lioy sent Ramirez 75 letters, building a relationship that led to their marriage in 1996 at San Quentin State Prison. Despite the overwhelming evidence of his guilt, Lioy maintained her belief in his innocence. In a 1997 interview with CNN, she said, "He's kind, he's funny, he's charming. I just believe in him completely." In my opinion, there was far more evidence to convict O.J. Simpson, and we all know how that turned out. Lioy's decision came at a cost. Her family cut ties with her, leaving her isolated, living what she described as a lonely lifestyle. Yet she stood by Ramirez until his death, from natural causes in 2013 when he was 53 years old. Number 9. Alexander the Chessboard Killer. Pichushkin. Russian serial killer Alexander Pichushkin, known as the Chessboard Killer, terrorized southwest Moscow's Bitsa Park with a chilling goal to kill 64 people, one for each square on a chessboard. He ultimately confessed to murdering 48 known victims, making him one of Russia's most notorious serial killers. Despite his horrific crimes, Pichushkin received a surprising volume of admiration. Around 80 women wrote him letters while he was in prison. One woman, Natalya Pichushkin, captured his attention to the point of marriage. Natalya affectionately calls him Sasha, and she describes her fascination. Sasha has created such a stir not only in our country, but throughout the world. So, I was curious to know what he really is like. It turned out that he was not so bad as he is shown in the media. Pichushkin himself revealed that the proposal was spontaneous. "I proposed to Natalya. She immediately agreed. Maybe if I were free, I would not have paid any attention to her, but here she is ideal for me. I have been here since 2008, and I need her." Their relationship shows a startling connection between two worlds that rarely intersect, one marked by an obsession with notoriety and the other by an intense attraction to danger. Number 8. Oscar Ray Bolin. Oscar Ray Bolin was a notorious figure, having brutally raped and murdered 3 young women in 1986. Convicted and sentenced to spend the rest of his life on Florida's death row, Bolin was recognized as a dangerous psychopath, requiring extra security due to his potential for escape. Despite the horrors he committed, he garnered an unusual admirer in Rosalie Martinez, who began visiting him in prison. Martinez was escorted by armed guards during her visits and candidly expressed the surreal nature of her encounters with Bolin, stating, "I felt like I was going in to see Hannibal Lecter." She described their first meeting saying, "I felt an affinity for Mr. Bolin. He was in a 9 by 12-foot cell with just a bed, desk, and toilet. I felt his isolation, his confinement, his loneliness. It affected me because I felt the same way, and it left me breathless." In 1996, Martinez took the extraordinary step of marrying Bolan over speakerphone while sitting in her apartment, dressed in a wedding gown. To symbolize his absence, she placed a framed photo of him beside her during the ceremony. Throughout their relationship, Martinez maintained her husband's innocence, despite his numerous retrials and overwhelming evidence against him. Their unconventional marriage lasted until Bolan's death in 2016, highlighting the complex and often troubling dynamics of relationships forged in the shadow of crime. Number 7. Philip Karl Jablonsky. Philip Karl Jablonsky is a chilling figure in the annals of true crime, having been convicted of brutally murdering 5 women between 1978 and 1991. His violent tendencies became apparent early on, as he had demonstrated a serious danger to women during his first marriage, where he attempted to suffocate his wife with a pillow during an altercation. In 1977, Jablonsky met Linda Kimball, and the couple welcomed a daughter together. However, the dark shadows of his nature loomed large. One fateful evening, he visited Kimball's mother with the intention of committing a heinous act. Ultimately, he couldn't go through with it, claiming all he could see was Linda's face. This moment of restraint did not deter him from his violent path. After Kimball left him to gather belongings for their daughter, she was found beaten, stabbed, and strangled. Her brutal murder linked directly to Jablonsky. He was subsequently sentenced to 12 years in prison for her death. While incarcerated, Jablonsky connected with Carol Spadoni, who had responded to a lonely heart's ad targeting prisoners. Their correspondence quickly blossomed into a relationship, and after his release, they moved in together. Tragically, just a year later, Jablonsky murdered both Carol and her mother, Eva Peterson, in a horrific act that shattered any notion of a fresh start. Today, Jablonsky remains on death row, a stark reminder of the potential for violence that can lie hidden beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. His story serves as a chilling testament to the dangers that can arise from the interplay of relationships and untreated psychological issues. Number 6. Angelo Buono Jr. In the late 1970s, Angelo Buono Jr. and his adoptive cousin, Kenneth Biani, gained infamy as the Hillside Strangler, responsible for the torture and murder of at least 10 young women, one of whom was only 12 years old. Their heinous acts initially led investigators to believe that a single serial killer was operating in the Los Angeles area. However, as evidence mounted, it became clear that this horrific duo was working together to commit their crimes. After their capture, Biani eventually turned against Buono, testifying against him in exchange for a plea deal. Both men were sentenced to life in prison, with a prosecutor in the case declaring them the 2 most vicious serial killers ever tried and convicted in Los Angeles County. In a bizarre twist of fate, Buono Jr. was permitted to marry Christine Kizuka in 1986 during a small ceremony in a visiting room at Folsom Prison, California. The pair had met when Kizuka was visiting her husband, who was incarcerated in the same facility. After her divorce, she struck up a relationship with the notorious killer, raising eyebrows among friends and family. A close family friend expressed confusion over her choice, stating, "She is a very bright woman. She has a college degree and a teacher's credential. I just don't know why she made this move. I think he has brainwashed her to the point that he has made her believe he is not guilty." Angelo Buono Jr. died in 2002 from a heart attack while serving his sentence, leaving behind a legacy of terror and a puzzling marriage that exemplified the complexities of relationships formed in the darkest of circumstances. Number 5. Kenneth Biani. Kenneth Biani, one half of the infamous serial killer duo known as the Hillside Strangler, also found love while serving his life sentence behind bars. In 1989, he donned a tuxedo for his wedding ceremony at Washington State Penitentiary. While his bride, Shirley Joyce Book, wore a traditional white wedding gown. The couple exchanged vows in front of a small gathering that included Bianchi's parents, some inmate friends, and Book's mother. Bianchi's notoriety stemmed from his involvement in the murders of multiple young women in the late 1970s, with many victims' bodies discarded in the hillsides of Los Angeles and Glendale. Despite the horror of his actions, Shirley began a relationship with him after they became pen pals. Their connection deepened through phone conversations, culminating in their first and only in-person meeting just a day before their wedding, which lasted only 15 minutes. The couple even posed for photographs for the National Enquirer, drawing attention to their unconventional love story amidst the backdrop of Bianchi's chilling crimes. Remarkably, Bianchi and Book are still married today, a testament to the complex and often disturbing relationships that can form between individuals in the darkest circumstances. Their union highlights the allure some may find in danger, despite the heinous nature of Bianchi's past. Number 4. Tex Watson? On a fateful summer night in 1969, Tex Watson, alongside Susan Atkins, Linda Kasabian, and Patricia Krenwinkel, carried out the chilling orders of cult leader Charles Manson. They descended upon the home of pregnant actress Sharon Tate, intending to kill everyone inside. In a brutal act that shocked the nation, they murdered Tate, her unborn child, and 4 of her close friends. The following night, Watson also took part in the equally horrifying murder of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, solidifying his place in one of the most notorious crime sprees in American history. Initially sentenced to death, Watson's punishment was later commuted to life imprisonment when California abolished the death penalty. Behind bars, he found a surprising avenue of solace. He married Kristen Jones Vega, and the couple conceived 4 children during conjugal visits. This unexpected family life provided a stark contrast to his past. In 1983, Tex Watson underwent a significant transformation, becoming an ordained minister. Along with his wife, he founded Abounding Love Ministries, a prison ministry operating at Mule Creek State Prison in Northern California. Through this ministry, Watson sought to counsel others, promoting a narrative of redemption. However, despite these attempts at rehabilitation, Watson has faced repeated denials of parole. In 2016, Los Angeles County District Attorney Jackie Lacey stated, "These were some of the most horrific crimes in California history, and we believe he continues to exhibit a lack of remorse and remains a public safety risk." Watson's life story encapsulates the complexities of crime, punishment, and the possibility of redemption, leaving many to ponder the true nature of justice and accountability. Number 3. The Menendez Brothers. In August 1989, Lyle and Eric Menendez committed one of the most shocking murders in American history when they killed their parents, Jose Joe Menendez and Kitty, in cold blood at their opulent Beverly Hills home. The brothers, ages 21 and 18 at the time, shot their parents and then attempted to create an alibi by going out to the movies with friends shortly afterward. Their defense claimed that years of abuse at the hands of their perfectionist father drove them to commit this heinous act. However, their lavish spending spree using their deceased parents' money soon raised eyebrows. Eric's confession to his psychologist ultimately led to police involvement, and in 1996, both brothers were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Behind bars, Lyle found a connection with former model Anna Erickson, and the two married. Their relationship ended in divorce when Anna discovered Lyle was corresponding with other women. Lyle eventually married again, this time to Rebecca Sneed, in a ceremony held in the visiting area of Mule Creek State Prison. Eric, meanwhile, married Tammy Ruth Sackerman at Folsom State Prison, where he was granted permission for conjugal visits. Speaking about Eric and the night of the murders, Tammy expressed her belief in his inherent goodness, stating, "I do know the person Eric is. I do know what happened that night, and I believe that within everybody, in certain circumstances, you will be able to kill somebody. But I do know Eric is a very good person." The Menendez Brothers case remains a deeply polarizing topic, raising questions about the nature of abuse, justice, and the complexities of family dynamics in the shadow of tragedy. Number 2. Charles Manson. Charles Manson, often regarded as the face of evil, gained infamy after orchestrating the brutal Tate-LaBianca murders in the summer of 1969. His name became synonymous with terror and violence, but for Afton Elaine Burton, who preferred to be called Star, Manson represented something entirely different. Star saw a side of him that was not reflected in the media and became infatuated, declaring, "I am going to marry Charlie Manson. I think he's the most handsome man in the world." Star recalled her first encounter with Manson fondly, saying, "I just thought he was the cutest thing. He probably asked me 10 times if I wanted to get married." Their relationship blossomed, leading to an engagement that attracted considerable media attention. The couple was allowed 2 visits a week at Central California Prison, but they were denied permission for conjugal visits. Demonstrating her commitment to Manson, who was 53 years her senior, Star even shaved her head in the same fashion as Manson's other female followers during his trial. This act of devotion further highlighted the intense bond she felt with him, despite the horror associated with his legacy. In 2017, just before Manson's death at the age of 83, the couple's marriage license expired, leaving their union unfulfilled. Star's affection for Manson remains a perplexing example of how some individuals can form intense attachments to notorious criminals seeking a connection in the most unlikely of circumstances. Number 1. Ted Bundy. In the summer of 1974, Carol Ann Boone was working at the Washington State Department of Emergency Services when she crossed paths with Ted Bundy. Describing her initial impression, Boone stated in The Only Living Witness, "The true story of serial sex killer Ted Bundy. I liked Ted immediately. We hit it off well. He certainly was more dignified and restrained than the more certifiable types around the office." As Bundy faced trial for the brutal murders of more than 30 women, Boone remained by his side, steadfast in her support. Their relationship took a significant turn in 1980 when they legally became husband and wife. Bundy cleverly exploited a legal loophole during his trial for the murder of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, allowing them to wed by simply announcing their marriage in front of the judge in the courtroom. Even after his conviction and subsequent placement on death row, Boone continued to visit Bundy regularly. Their relationship deepened, and they conceived a daughter named Rose. It is believed that Bundy bribed prison guards to secure time with Boone, further complicating the dynamics of their unusual bond. On January 24, 1989, Bundy was executed by electrocution at Florida State Prison. Following his death, Boone disappeared into obscurity, leaving behind a story that underscores the complexities of human relationships and the inexplicable connections some individuals forge with those who have committed heinous acts. Thank you for watching Odd Occasions. If today's stories left you shocked or intrigued, please hit the like button and subscribe for more dives into the mysteries of human behavior and true crime. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on these unusual relationships. What drives people to make such choices? Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, love can take the strangest forms in the most unexpected places.